And welcome back to another actual play, or let's play, whatever you guys prefer, of Vampire the Requiem, The Lost Knights. Now, before we get into it, I will go ahead and tell everybody this game will be a bit shorter than our other games just due to time restraints on my end as the GM. So, without further ado, we'll do a very quick and very to the point wrap up of the previous story arc, and then move right on into the next one. I'll go ahead and start with Mr. Russell, aka Charles.
Okay, let's see. The first thing that happened last session was we regrouped, in a sense, at after feeding at Pandora. No,
The Purgatory.
Purgatory. That's it. The Purgatory. We discussed for a little while where we should head, who we should talk to. We eventually decided that we should somewhat confront the sheriff. So we drove on down to Elysium. Remembered that Elysium really isn't in session tonight. There were a couple of ghouls wandering around. We leaned on one and were basically schoolyard bullies against said ghoul for a little while, until eventually she relinquished that the sheriff wasn't home, but she could point us to somebody who could at least get us the message across. So we went down, talked to Isabella, who is the local guardian of Elysium. We got her angry at us, which was not the wisest idea, but we did manage to convince her to take us to Miss Graves' office. We went there, we snooped around a little. Um, let's see, we found out we basically divined where Miss Graves probably was, or at least who we should talk to find out where she was, which was a Sergeant Walden on the police force. After deciding that, we headed down to the police station. Miss Cole and Mr. Maddox talked to him while Charles sat outside and made a phone call. Came back out. We found out their basic location. I don't quite remember what happened in there because that wasn't my scene. Someone else had to talk about that. But we found out the sheriff's basic location. We headed down there, walked into the warehouse. It seemed to be trap-like in the fact that Trent's sister was in a single searchlight in the middle of the room, surrounded by boxes in the darkness. And we all sort of sneaked until such was spotted, and then Mr. Maddox, full of subtlety and coyness, charged straight to said person, at which point all the lights cut on, and the apparent sheriff walked out, and then we played Sophie's Choice for about 15-ish minutes while we tried to figure out what exactly we should do. The grave basically said either you die or she dies. Miss Cole said, hey, I'll fill her spot, and then offered Viniculum, and then as soon as was within range, started snacking on the said sheriff in a surprise sneak attack. There was gunfights, there was werewolves smashing through ceilings. Eventually everything resolved itself. There was several other dead bad vampires.
Well, actually, to be fair, they weren't vampires.
They were ghouls!
No.
One got ash.
Actually, you guys don't know what they are yet. All I can say is they aren't vampires because when they died, they didn't ash.
That's true. They were physically there. I shot one in the head twice. But
Anyway, keep going.
Trent chased after the werewolf and had a bit of a discussion there with him and his sister. Lucia Cole finished diablerizing the actual vampire that's there that was a Nosferatu posing as the sheriff. Then there was a discussion between her and Tybalt. They wandered back out to the just bitchin' vehicle that we've somehow acquired. And then the actual sheriff pulled up and said, "Hey, great job doing my work for me. Come on down when you get the chance, when you get the chance to interrogate." And then Mr. Maddox came back around, I think, and that was pretty much it, I believe. And that's the super quick version.
All right. Moving right along. Henry.
All right.
Or Lucia.
Just to keep it short, pretty much everything that Russell said, except while Lucia and Trent was in the police station, we questioned the werewolf that had actually tried to bust in on us earlier, and Lucia found further connections between Sheriff Graves and the werewolves, and where exactly she'd be 10 minutes ago. Using that information and the fact that she was technically, finger quotes, breaking the masquerade herself with that, she decided to go and confront the sheriff into giving them information based on the fact that she could, turn the table on her. Unfortunately, when they actually got there, it seemed that this person was in fact an imposter, but knew more about the sheriff than Lucia did. So more questions arose. Also, Lucia diablerized the Nosferatu posing as the sheriff and is now trying to quickly cover her tracks.
All
And
right.
that is filling in the blanks a la Lucia style.
Right. Dominic or Trenton, as the case may be.
Yeah, we laughed, we cried. It was awesome. That's all. No, it's we started out being very skeptical of Jillian Graves, and we wanted to track her down. That brought us to wanting to check for her at the police station, and check on any notes that they might have on the disappearance of Maddox's sister. And we spoke with the sheriff or the sergeant, Sergeant Walden, and it was Lucia and Trent that went to speak with him, and he basically gave us the heads up. Actually, I'm doing this out of order, aren't I? But he gave us the heads up about where Jillian Graves would be that night. Trenton had the werewolf, Walden, or we suspect to be the werewolf, smell him, and the sergeant thought that Trenton smelt awful, as a lot of these supernaturals seem to do. But we ended up at Elysium to find more information, perhaps leave a note for Jillian Graves, and we ended up getting access to an office where Lucia and Charles were able to pilfer notes and evidence, which then led us to finally go to the warehouse to confront Graves, or what we thought we would be confronting Graves. And when we got there, we found Trenton's sister in the center of the warehouse, tied up, and Graves gave Trent an ultimatum to either sacrifice himself for breaking the masquerade, by letting his sister in on the masquerade, essentially, or sacrifice his sister. Someone had to be punished either way. Lucia, ironically and heroically, stepped in and attacked who we thought was Jillian Graves. Of course, Lucia probably just thought this was a perfect opportunity to diablerize somebody, but it turns out Jillian Graves wasn't actually Jillian Graves. It was a Nosferatu using obfuscate, to the level where we couldn't tell their identity. Bunch of commotion. Charles was a gunslinger,
In disguise.
wiping out ghouls left and right, and all of this provided a distraction for Trent to try to run his sister Rebecca out of the warehouse. A werewolf came through the window, I believe, or got in somehow, stripped the sister from Trent, and took her outside. Trent followed. He didn't get to see the outcome of the diablerie, and Charles. There was a bit of a confrontation between Charles and Lucia, because Charles now has witnessed Lucia's diablerizing of another vampire, and Lucia's not very happy about there being a witness to it. But Trent confronted the werewolf outside of the warehouse, who seemed to be a close friend, if not a romantic interest of Trenton's sister. And Trent believes that she is actually in safe hands, although he's cautious about this. The werewolf ultimately told him that that Trent wasn't the one who was safe because the storm that's coming, that's approaching Eden, is more than just a mundane storm, it seems, or at least the werewolf seemed to think so. So they're hightailing it out of town. So yeah, and that's it.
One thing actually that I just remember while you were talking, Dominic, we were all at Elysium, and we went to Miss Cole's abode to start to decrypt those messages, and we got a call about somebody called and basically said, "Yo, fools be dying tonight," and then hang up.
Yeah, that was when we knew that Rebecca only had probably a night to live, right?
Fools be dying tonight. All right then. Anywho, then that happened, according to what Russell said.
Yes, and then that happened.
Let me see. All right. It has been a night, one solid night that you've had of kind of rest and relaxation, so to speak. You've been able to find a bit of peace amidst the approaching storm. You can see it clearly off in the distance, the storm clouds gathering every once in a while. It'll move in close towards the outskirts and then kind of retreat back, almost as if this storm itself might have some sentience to it. But no, storms don't think, right? As I said, a day has passed, and what did you guys do anything particular interesting of note during that time?
I called my super secret contact and apologized for not showing up.
Okay.
Other than that, nothing.
Trent paid a visit to Isabella.
All right. To discuss anything of importance?
Just to, goodwill. I don't know, just to discuss, just talk with her, get to know her.
Okay.
Lucia looked her.
Well, hold on. I'll go ahead and I'll send a note to you about what they discussed.
Okay.
Just so that way we can save time.
Hot Pockets.
Yeah.
Lucia?
Yeah, Lucia spent the night herself sequestered into her quarters, trying to find a way to kind of, calm herself after her diablerizing incident, and just kind of think back and see if she can't plot and plan, a safety net for her.
All right. I can say that she's pretty much concocted a way around it. And, it's something that we have already discussed about out of character.
Yeah.
So all she needs to do is amass the power to get it.
The clock is ticking.
Scared now.
All right. And
I should say Trent straightened out his apartment a bit.
Clean up the blood piles.
Something make it a bit livable.
yeah, I would say you were able to clean it up a bit, get things going back the way they were.
Right.
Aside from the fact that now Rebecca no longer has her stuff there, she's kind of moved out.
Yeah, well, the other problem is there's no rent. So I don't know how long I'll be able to keep it, but...
I would say probably till the end of the month.
Okay.
Until when rent is due.
Yeah.
And you eat that man.
And all the same, I am going to deduct 1 blood point from everybody since a day has passed.
Oh, but wait! Lucia does not deduct a blood point.
You activated trap cards again.
But
Yes.
did
This will be night 3. On night 4, that's when she'll lose a blood point.
Okay.
But did we recover the Vita we lost during play?
Recover the Vita you lost? No, you don't.
Ooh.
You're going to have to go out and hunt.
Oh, that's
Indeed.
right. But since you guys successfully complete a story arc, you do get all of your willpower back.
Yeah!
I was scared. I had not a lot left.
Yeah, I only had 1 left too.
Oh, I had 2 left.
Alright then. Is there, how do you guys get in contact with each other? What's the course of action for tonight? What do you guys have planned?
I have.
Right now, Lucia is still basically kind of sequestering herself unless someone contacts her, in which case she would probably hit up Scumbag Steve and see if he doesn't have any information or leads for her to follow, especially concerning any Egyptian artifacts.
What about Mr. Charles?
I believe I was going to head down to Elysium and find Miss Graves because she was talking about interrogating that guy tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to go with that.
All right. Let's go ahead and say you've made contact with the other members of the coterie, just saying, hey, I'm going to go ahead and attend this investigation. I don't know if you guys are interested in coming or tagging along or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I suppose.
Maybe just mention it in passing. It would be something that you would do, being the socialite that you are.
Yes, I suppose that would be fair.
Trent's going to tag along just to see some inner workings of the Elysium.
All right. And what about Miss Lucia? She has also been notified of this encounter.
She may join up with them, but she is currently trying to get information concerning the Odo Dracul and their Egyptian artifact shipment from Scumbag Steve.
Okay. What you have heard from Mr. Scumbag Steve, as the case may be, is that recently a coffin, a solid gold coffin with Egyptian workings on it, has come in to the city on the request of the Order Dracul and several of their investigations and people that they had out in the field. Now, this was unearthed in Cairo, as you would all know. But it has also been apprehended by another group, which you also are aware of, which is the Lankia Sanctum. They have commandeered this, violating a bit of their treaty and their what's the word? The protocol that they usually follow.
Indeed.
In these situations. What you'd also know is the fact that he's told you that apparently it's it's supposed to be a coffin of some sort of dead and deceased pharaoh, one that apparently had some terrible reputation. He brought famine, fear, pestilence. But since he does not read, ancient Egyptian or Sanskrit, as the case may be, he doesn't know much about it. He's just going off what the others have told him.
This will be something for her to look into when she can. But for now, she needs her ace in the hole in order to investigate that. Assuming that he's going to be with the investigation, she will go down and see if she can't squander her student off to help her scheme.
Okay. By this time, Charles and Trenton are already walking accompanied with Sheriff Graves down to the holding cell. It's actually down the long hallway that you had gone before, leading you to the sheriff's office, and then a bit further down, there's a hidden passageway to the left. She presses some of the bricks, and the wall adjacent to it opens up. It leads to a stairwell leading down. But by this time, this is when Lucia kind of catches up.
Once I see her come into the hall, I quickly turn to Miss Graves to try to engage in conversation. So, Miss Cole, I assume you've already actually spoken to this captured fellow. What have you divined?
Well,
You said that to Lucia or Jillian?
Miss Graves.
Yeah, you said Cole.
Did I? That was a slip.
yeah. You told me I turned to Miss Graves, and I say, Miss Cole.
Oh.
And she slaps you and says, what? What did you call me?
I wear high heels.
Anywho, she goes and she looks at you and she's like, "Well, I have spoken to them briefly. I haven't had a chance to get any long-term investigation or interrogation done, just due to the conflict that had arisen, as I'm sure you've known. And it seems as though this person has just come to. So, I think it'll be very interesting for both of us."
Oh, most definitely. Would you be allowing me to head this particular talk, or would you care for the honors?
I will, of course, take the lead, but I will allow you the honors of interjecting.
Little bow.
Okay.
I'll
By
quickly
this
hurry.
by this time, Lucia's fully arrived. You know, she kind of came power walking up, and she's arrived, and she's like, "Hey guys, what's up?" Or whatever she says.
Okay. She says air conditioning sounds.
Is Henry there, or did we lose him?
No, I'm right here. She says nothing.
Oh, okay. Well,
She
you
just
should probably let me know she says nothing.
Yes.
That way I'm not waiting for a rebuttal.
But good
She
role
said-
playing though.
She says nothing and follows behind them silently.
You can tell as you go down the hallway. I'm sorry, down the corridor. It seems as though these set of steps leading down are more naturally made. It doesn't look like the rest of the building that was crafted, with tools. This looks more natural, more what's the word? More ancient. As you guys continue down the corridor a bit, the electricity actually goes out completely, and Jillian reaches over and she grabs a torch and she pulls out her Zippo and she starts it up. Like, sorry, it gets a bit dark after this point.
Take a flashlight instead of dangerous fire.
Well, let's just say I'm old-fashioned. She smiles. This, it continues to spiral downwards, and you actually see something odd, as it's kind of spiraling down. It looks like a very thick and very hard bark.
On the walls?
Yeah.
Along the walls, yes. It ceases to feel like stone and starts feeling like a wood.
Huh.
But before you're able to bring that query to life, you arrive at the bottom of the steps, and there's a chamber that kind of opens up. You can see there's like 3 or 4 of these doorways that have been set out in front of you. Jillian walks over. She walks to the 3rd door. She slides the slit open. She stares inside. Then she closes it back, and she opens the door. It's right here, this one.
Step inside.
Lucy doesn't step inside. Instead, she waits outside.
Trent walks in with Charles. And he pulls out his kitchen knife and starts cleaning his fingers with it, his fingernails.
Okay. As you go and you step inside, it's kind of like taking a step back in time. These conditions are just terrible. They're filthy. Obviously, they care little for the health or the survival of their captors. The particular person that you're looking at is a man, maybe possibly in his mid-20s. He's chained by the neck to the wall. His hands have been bound in front of him, so he can't raise them or possibly lift them in any way. And more importantly, you can tell that it looks as though he's already been beaten pretty badly.
Do you want me to cut him, Charles?
Now, Mr. Maddox, let's calm down. Wait for Miss Graves to start her little speech. I say that quietly so that the prisoner doesn't hear it.
Jillian goes and she walks over and she places the torch along the wall as it illuminates the rest of the room slowly. Are you up? She says rather sternly. You know, his eyes kind of narrow a bit since he's been kept in darkness this whole time, as the light seems to hurt his eyes, and he looks at her. He says nothing. Ah, good. I see you're still alive. She chuckled a bit to herself before she turns to Charles. Well then, Mr. Tybalt, let's see what you can do.
Smile and walk over to the prisoner. I kind of crouch down a little to his eye level and kind of try to at least match his eyes, if that's possible. I don't know if he's avoiding gaze or not.
Well, every once in a while you're able to catch his eyes, but he's kind of like, kind of shifting a bit about, anxiously. He doesn't want to be there, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. Well, how are you finding yourself tonight, Mr. Yeah.
He just kind of looks at you, glaring.
Now, we can't have any sort of dialogue if you won't at least tell me your name. Here, my name is Mr. Tybalt, and yours would be?
Avery.
Avery. Mr. Avery. All right, Mr. Avery. Tell me, what is it you were doing yesterday night in that warehouse besides some very obvious criminal things? Anything else?
Following orders.
Orders. That's good. That's an admirable trait. It's a form of loyalty, but obviously following those orders didn't turn out so well for you. But whose orders?
He kind of goes and he looks over at Jillian for a minute, as if wary because possibly when he's spoken about this before, he's gotten hit or slapped or beaten or whatever. He kind of goes, he shuffles a bit. You hear his chains sort of shackling. We're following the orders from the mistress. She commands us and we obey.
Yes, the mistress. I've actually heard about her before now. I think I have a good guess as to who that mistress is. Would you indulge me if I took a few guesses?
He just kind of grumbles to himself.
You probably wouldn't tell me if I even guessed it right anyway, would you? Tell me. Actually, you know what? Better yet. Just kind of casually start moving around so that it won't look surreptitious when I kind of look to I'm looking at Miss Graves and hoping she isn't looking right back at me when I say, tell me, Mr. Avery, when did you and your gentleman make that call to Miss Cole about threatening the young girl's life? And I'm watching Miss Graves' expression at the question and answer.
Jillian's eyes kind of raise a bit as she's curious. She's curious as to the result. Avery goes and he kind of shakes his head a bit. I don't know what you're talking about. We never made no call.
Actually, one more thing. Does Avery have a predator taint?
No, he does not.
Okay. I'm going to lean back down. Mr. Avery, we're not going to be getting anywhere if you won't at least tell us something. I feel for you. This is obviously a very bad situation for you. There's really no good way out of this, but if you at least give me something, perhaps I can get you some leverage. I want to kind of get you as much leverage as I can. I understand your plight working with our kind, I say, activating majesty.
Okay, I assume you're Majesty level 1?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's passive. You really don't have to spend anything.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I'm going to double check, but go ahead. Continue with the scene.
You and I'm not going to try to josh you here, Mr. Avery. You and I both know this is probably going to end in something rather bad for you. But if you give me as much as you can, if you at least cooperate with me, I think I can get you the best possible result of this. The best way out, if you will.
Okay. Go ahead and roll presence plus expression plus your majesty.
Presence plus expression Lost Majesty. Ah, I don't have the dice roller. Let me go get that.
Oh crap! Yeah, I don't have the dice roller open
I
either.
have it bookmarked, I think.
I might be the only one prepared.
Shut up!
I have it open.
You know what? Just because I got all my willpower back, I'm gonna spend it. I'm sure I can afford it.
Do you want us to roll it for you?
Oh, no, I got it. I just opened
Oh.
it. 4 successes.
Hold on, I have to check that. All right, I see it. He goes and he kind of lifts his head a bit. He's like, "All right, I'll try to tell you what I can, but I already know I'm a dead man. Even if I get out of here, she won't welcome me back."
Mr. Avery, there are worse things than being dead. I smile.
Yes, service to her is worse than being dead.
Who is her, exactly, Mr. Avery?
The mistress.
Mistress Falks? Mistress...
Lucia chimes in just from, outside the room. Mistress Valentine?
I I don't know her name. All I know is that the red she wears. The lady in red.
I look up around at all the other people in the room to try to see if there's any sort of reaction gauge from that. Kind of a... Anybody...
No reaction from Jillian. She just seems to be studying him, taking it all in.
Cole?
Trent shrugs his shoulders like, "Ooh."
And Miss Cole?
Miss Cole is outside the room, and thus you cannot see her.
So you're just a peanut gallery in the background?
Oh yeah, she's listening, but she's not going to be in that room, especially with the henchman whose boss she ate in front of him.
Okay. Then I'm going to return to the Miss... Oh, Mr. Avery, then how long have you been working with this Mistress in Red?
I don't know. I don't remember. She did things. She altered memories. I don't remember a time before her.
Ah. Do you remember where you last met her, or where she likes to meet, perhaps?
She orchestrated it all. She told us our parts, that we were to play it out.
Who were the others? What parts did they have?
Even Sarah knew her position, her risks.
Sarah who?
The one that she ate.
I quickly glance at Graves, then return back to the conversation. Let's stay on topic here, Mr. Avery. Can you give me any other names besides Sarah B?
I only know Sarah. She was the one that was in charge of us. But even Sarah was bound to the mistress.
Did Sarah ever talk to anyone else that you can remember from description, perhaps? Anyone?
I told you I don't remember. She did things to our minds.
Trent's getting really impatient.
Well, Mr. Avery, that's a little disheartening. Can you remember any locations besides the warehouse? Anything at all?
Not clearly, no. I just remember the warehouse, and I remember a chamber, a hidden sanctum, a cemetery. He kind of goes in and he rubs his eyes, and I remember the forest.
Mr. Maddox, come here a moment. I say, kind of wiggling a finger and walking over.
Yeah, what is it?
Ask Miss Cole if she has any vials of beakers, and if she doesn't, please go fetch one of some kind. And then I'm going to turn and walk back over to Miss Graves.
Trent spits on the ground in front of the ghoul and walks out to Lucia.
All right. You go and you walk out to Lucia, and what do you tell her? What do you see? So forth.
Yeah, Lucia. Charles needs some beakers, or some
Vials.
vials.
Would the forensics kit contain like a spare vial or anything?
Let me roll a chance dice. Yeah, usually for random stuff like this, I like to roll the chance dice. Just
Bruce,
simple yes or no.
to see if there's a rubber chicken in the forensics kit.
Uh, okay, that's weird. I'm gonna go ahead and say yes. It has some vials there.
Lucia reaches into her coat, withdraws the forensics kit, withdraws a very small violin, hands it to Trent, and says, "Handle with delicacy."
Trent snatches it out of her hand and almost slips with it, juggling.
Whoa.
And then he walks into the cell and hands it to Charles.
Earning
Alright.
a glare.
I kind of nod at Miss Maddox and then return to talking to Miss Graves. Obviously, Miss Graves, you can see that he's been altered sufficiently where we won't be able to get much out of him. Yes?
I'm fairly confident in your assessment of this situation.
Right. With your permission, I have a friend, an unaligned factor, who can do certain things with blood. It's an Order Dracul thing. But with your permission, I'd like to take a sample of blood.
Go ahead and make a manipulation plus persuasion roll.
Hells to the yeah, I can do that.
You drink all that blood, you're gonna get a wicked bad tummy ache.
More blood.
2 successes.
She kind of looks you over suspiciously for a moment. She's well aware of blood magic within the Kruak and the experiments the Order Dracul perform. But she gives a nod of approval. Alright, I'll allow this. But only one vial.
That's fine, I say, waving the vial. I'm walking over to Mr. Avery. Trent, can I borrow that kitchen knife?
Yeah, Trent tosses it to you.
Kind of, excuse me, Mr. Avery, and then slice a section and fill out the vial with blood.
He lets out a mighty howl of pain as you cut into him. He's like, "Ah!" He goes and he kind of pulls against the chains as if trying to get away, even though he knows it's a vain, futile attempt.
Oh, calm down. Don't be such a baby, Mr. Avery. I say as I continue filling up the vial.
After a couple of moments, the vial's filled up enough, and you can see that, his wound continues to leak before slowly coagulating and stopping.
Stop at the vial, put it in a pocket, and nod to Mr. Avery, turn back to Miss Graves. As I said, I don't think there's much less we can get from Mr. Avery. What do you suggest is done with him?
If he's of no use to us, well, we can always send him to the blood banks.
Yes. Actually, I glance outside the door to where I know that Miss Cole is waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Graves, would you allow myself to deal with him?
What did you have in mind?
Well, I recently lost a butler, and I need a new one.
If you would risk your existence in the presence of a creature that has already tried to kill you once, I would strongly advise against this, but I will consort with the prince. If I get the prince's approval on this, I have no problem handing him over to you.
Thank you, Miss Graves. Your discretion is, as always, appropriate. Walk out of the room.
Alright. By this time, you go and you walk out, and, Lucia's outside, waiting. And what about Trent?
Trent's seething right now. And and before he leaves, he leaps at the guy at Avery and grabs him by the ears, digging into his head, and he's, "What did you really want with my sister? What was Sarah doing?"
He goes and he shakes his head. Actually, give me a willpower roll while this is going on.
Uh-oh, someone's getting into Angry Town.
Willpower.
Population U.
Population,
my-
shut up!
My total willpower.
Yeah, your total willpower.
Two successes.
You feel the beast swelling up inside of you as you vent and release some of your anger. He goes and he kind of shakes his head. I don't know. She just said that this was to teach her a lesson. To teach her to stay away. That we were making her suffer by making you suffer. This was all her design.
Why should I suffer?
You suffer because she wants to see her suffer.
Ah!
By this time, Jillian keeps watching. You know, her interest quite peaked at this.
Outside, I turn to Miss Cole and kind of nod my head back towards the cell. You seem to have a bit of trouble controlling your ward, Miss Cole.
Ties such as his are hard to break. The sooner he comes closer to accepting what is and what will be, the more calmer he should regress back to.
Trent settles down a bit. He says, "This isn't going to be the last time you see me."
He goes and he just continues to watch, seeing as how he can do little more than anything else.
Fine, Charles, you take him as a butler. That'll make it easier for me to get revenge.
Oh, of course, Mr. Maddox. Well,
Once everybody's outside,
yeah.
Jillian returns quickly soon after, closing the door behind them, placing the long iron key inside of her pocket. As she kind of goes, as she gives a half-hearted shrug. Well, we did what we could.
Indeed, Miss Graves. Should we head back upstairs?
Yes, I suppose we should. She says, her eyes still looking at the very first cell, before she turns her attention back. After you.
Wait, Jillian, did you guys bring the that nomad down here?
Yes, the nomad is here.
Can we see her?
Her eyes kind of flutter a bit. Well, why would you want to see her?
Ooh, never mind. Fuck.
Go ahead.
No,
Lucius
no.
speaks up. We may need to question the nomad regarding the end of this trail and whether or not this particular one was involved with any of this to do with my students' indiscretions.
Also, it'll be a good learning lesson for the student. A good not example of what not to do. Yes?
Okay, go ahead and make another persuasion roll.
Her?
Whom?
Well, I guess either or. I mean, you both make good points.
You want to do it, Henry, or should I?
Can they do a
Can we
combined?
actually? Yeah, I was just about to say, can we actually
Our
boost each
powers
other's?
combined.
I
Yeah.
am Persuasion Man.
Okay, you can both go ahead and roll if you really want to.
Manipulation
Yes,
plus
let's.
persuasion.
Or what? How does a combined roll? Does one of them add their dice to or their
No, but
successes?
no. Basically, they both roll separately, and their successes are added together, but the difficulty for succeeding is higher.
Hmm.
Is it manipulation plus persuasion?
Yeah, manipulation per persuasion.
Bitchin'.
I got nothing.
I got this.
Nothing.
Yeah, I got a rock.
Okay. 7 dice. 3 successes.
Jillian kind of shakes her head a bit, and she's like, "Fine, if you think it'll help, I'll let you in. I'll be waiting outside, though I have nothing more to say to that creature."
Thank you, Miss Graves.
She goes and she walks over to the very first door, pulling out the key and opening it. As she opens it, you can see that this setup is a bit different than the cell that's holding the other creature. You can tell that there are similar chains holding her in place, but there's also a very long, hard stake that's shoved through her chest, keeping her immobilized. But her eyes and her mouth still very perceptive and able to communicate.
Anyone gonna say anything first? Or...
Trent's gonna walk in and not say anything, but Trent wants to, because from the first time that she came, this is out of character. First time that Trent saw her, John, you said that she seemed familiar.
In a way, yes.
In a way, Trent just wants. Is there anything that he can do to try to recall like why there's that familiarity?
You can make a
Just study her face or
Nam
smell
flashback.
or something.
I would say a willpower roll would suffice in that. I mean, that's how I'm doing recovering memories, especially memories that out of character we aren't 100% on, and we're just winging.
Okay.
I mean, it seems to make sense for me. I mean, you're consciously looking through your memory to see if there's any sort of connection.
Right. One success.
She seems familiar somehow. You can't quite place where. You know it's from your past. You recall the roar of a motorcycle, the caw of a bird, and then her face, and then that's all.
Lucia speaks up, just, ever so casually. Does the name Sarah ring a bell?
I know no person named Sarah. At least, not in regards to what you're speaking of. She smiles.
Did you know a Sarah?
I've known many Sarahs through the course of my travels.
How about a Josephine Valentine?
Her eyes kind of narrow a bit. What do you want with her? She's nothing but trouble.
I want to know your connection to her.
I have no connection to her. Other than I'd like to see her meet another sunrise.
So which one of you is going to be responsible then for the oncoming storm?
The storm follows me and my kind. I make no reservations about that.
Does Devin Masters follow the storm?
The doll does what he is told. The doll has no will of his own, despite his illusion.
Does the doll follow Valentine?
The doll must always do what the master says.
It's at this point that Lucia is going to turn on Heightened Senses Auspix 2.
Wow.
Aurora reading
Aura.
or
Aurora's the
aura
thing with the
perception.
Arctic.
Yeah, aura perception. There you go. Aurora reading.
Whoa,
Aurora,
it's so
get in here. I
pretty.
need to read something off your back. All right. I assume you're going to be looking towards her.
Yes.
Hold on. Damn you, celerity. Get in my mouth. You can see that she has a purple aura swirling about her, along with black veins that kind of throb inside of it.
Ah,
Mixed,
something.
mixed within it, of course, there is also a myriad of soft sparkles.
Soft sparkles?
Yes,
You said what color it was?
Purple.
purple.
But we don't know.
With,
so-
with black veins and a sort of like a sparkling, like almost twinkle, like in the very distance of her aura.
Lucia is gonna lean in really close to her and just be like, I see the truth.
You can see what you will. There is only survival out there away from the safety of your cities. We have to fend for ourselves, hunt for ourselves, live as we should. We're
Who was it?
beasts, and beasts be damned.
Who was it?
Who is what?
Who was it that the beast damned within you?
Well, okay, out of character, I really don't understand what you're asking her.
Okay, she's
Who
trying.
Diablerized.
Yeah, basically, that's what she's asking. She's basically.
Oh, who she diablerized?
Yeah, she's not trying to say it so, it's
Oh, okay,
easy
okay,
to
okay.
understand. But
Now, okay, yeah. That you see,
she's
that was a bit too
figuring.
confusing for me.
Yeah.
Story.
Yeah, she figured maybe because, this other person would understand the feeling, then maybe they'd catch on a lot quicker.
More than a feeling.
Who? Plenty. But I do not attack out of impulse. I attack out of self-defense. Should you and your kind come after me, I'll gladly take what is entitled to me.
Who's protecting you?
She just goes and she smiles. The scorpion protects me, and soon he'll come.
Okay, just because the sparkles and stuff that Lucia would kind of think that's assuming that's magic use. Could she kind of like try and pertain to what nature of is on her or anything?
No, that's gonna be way over a vampire's head.
All right.
We are not playing mage.
She's just trying to figure out, what
Well, I
she
mean,
can.
you
You calling
could
us
figure out.
stupid?
Yes, I'll call vampires stupid any day of the week. Anyway, I'll explain that later. Anywho, keep going.
Were you at all connected to my student here and the devastation wrought upon his mortal family?
Well, actually, out of character, would Trent have told Lucia the backstory? Yeah,
He
because
they
I know we've kind of assumed some things, but I need to know if that's been established.
Yeah, Lucy and Charles know about what happened to Trent's family. I don't know if they know the details though, but they know that that they're basically, his family was killed by a group. Actually, they
Okay.
probably do know the details. I mean, he's been pretty
Okay.
open about it. Yeah,
Okay.
but I don't think that Lucia would know who. I mean, they're just as in the dark as he is, obviously, as to who it was. But
Okay. Okay.
John,
Yes.
Can I roll vampire politics to try to identify when she said the scorpion?
I was actually going to ask if her cult of the Vampire Society would help
I
on
suspect
that.
it's not a
Well,
cult.
yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
you both can roll for that if you wish.
What can what?
Intelligence.
I
Plus,
guess
In,
it would be an intelligence plus. I guess in Russell's case, politics, vampire affairs, and in Henry's case, yeah, I think Russell would be the only one that would have any sort of uh, ability to notice this.
yes, I think I even know. 4 successes, but that's in a second.
but
Nice.
and she mentions the scorpion though. But
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
that like be a part of like any part of like maybe clan symbol or anything? That's kind of basically what I'm going off of.
Plans are not a cult; they are politics.
Uh,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
gotta agree.
vampiric lore that I was going off of.
Well,
Mm, okay, yeah. Go ahead. Intelligence plus occult vampire lore. Uh,
Yay!
when you word it that way, no.
ba-da-da-da-do.
Gotta just get the dice roller.
I got 4 successes, so I think I'm allowed to know in both instances. I even think I know already.
3
I'm so
successes.
proud of myself.
Just a second. This is redunculous.
You don't know the meaning of redunculus.
Well, anywho, Russell, or Charles, knows that the scorpion is typically what the Americans refer to as a motorcycle group. Um, that use the scorpion tattoo as their symbol. But on the kindred side of things, you also know that it is a group of nomads that frequents the Arizona and Nevada areas. They pretty much live off the land, and by living off the land, they, do what they need to survive. Sometimes not always good. Actually, a majority of the time, not always good.
Do they have a name?
Yes, they do have a name. But the name is going to be tied into what I'm going to tell Lucia, so you can kind of piece together from that.
Oakley dokley.
Ogly doggly.
And what Lucia is able to piece together is that there is a group, a particular bloodline, an offshoot that uses the scorpion as their symbol, is a bloodline of the Gangrel clan, and that is the Bruja, or the Bruja.
Lucia looks at this captive nomad. So you descend from Sire Bruja.
She shakes her head. I never said that. I said he watches over me.
You share his blood, do you not?
Do we not share all the same blood? We're
Some
all kindred,
speculate.
all the same. All from the same source.
Some speculate otherwise, despite such Cainite beliefs of same source.
This is interesting, actually. From what I know of your particular little band of troublemakers, you generally stick to the outskirts. Why are you causing trouble this deep into the city?
They came to us. They asked for our help.
And they're the ones connected to Maddox here.
No. They are the ones that are partially responsible for this storm. She kind of goes and she smirks. They came to us for help because we live as they do. The Aratha.
The Aratha. Vampiric lore on that?
No.
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 Never.
Darn.
Then I doubt politics would help.
No. You would need another type of lore to identify that terminology.
What is it that you wanted with Sheriff Graves?
She was a mess.
As I've told her before, she smiles, her eyes shifting over to Graves, to warn her, to tell her that the storm's coming, and that she better release those that she has under bonds.
Is that in any way correlate to Masters here?
No, the bonds I speak of are not those of Iniculum.
Rarely helpful in my current search, but still information provided nevertheless. And with that, Lucia turns and walks away.
Now wait, let me clarify. Is Graves in the room?
Yeah, well, she's standing outside the room, but she's looking in, keeping an eye on what's happening.
Alright.
Which is why Lucia speaks in code.
Ipsum lurum malturum. And Maddox is given a doom stare, right?
Well, I don't know what is Mr. Maddox doing.
Trent's just still staring at her, but he's gonna ask her if she knows him from somewhere, or if she recognizes him.
Okay.
So yeah. Wait, did we even get her name yet?
Nobody's asked her name.
She doesn't deserve to give names.
What's your name?
My name? What's in a name? If you're speaking of the name that I had in my immortal life, that's Cassandra. Cassandra Brimstone. But what is a name really? Nothing but a title given to those who wish to be contained, to be trapped.
I guess a lady. Do you know me? Do you recognize me?
She goes and she smirks. You really don't remember, do you?
No.
Well, I doubt you would. You were frenzied all to hell that night.
Trent starts getting real upset. Were you there?
Of course I was there. Oh!
Well,
Shit.
all I can say is we were passing by, but I was not the one that turned you, she says. No, actually, I believe the expression is we were the cavalry that showed up to save your ass. You were too frenzied at the time, too starved of blood. I had to stake you so that way you could just calm the fuck down.
Calm the fuck down.
Well, who turned me? Who embraced me?
I don't know who they were. All I knew is that they're another rival group, much like our own. We've been at odds with them for a while, but I think we've beaten them back finally. But who knows? They're harder to stamp out than anything else. I'm actually surprised you're still around. That blood you have is mighty wicked.
What do you mean?
She kind of goes and she chuckles. How much have you actually looked into yourself?
Well, I'm not a very introspective man.
Nope.
Nope.
She goes and she laughs a bit. Well, I don't have all the details, but all I know is that usually those who are embraced by the brood have follow similar paths. I'm actually surprised that you're able to cling to your humanity so.
Who the fuck is the brood?
She goes and she coughs a bit, all in good time.
How do I know you're not lying? How do I know you weren't the one who embraced me? Or your group had someone who embraced me?
Son, if I would have embraced you, well, let's just say things would have been a lot different. I have standards. See, the way the brood works, they like to have fun, making true monsters out of those for no other reason than just to watch the pain and turmoil that inflicts out of them. Much like her, but her tactics are a lot different. She goes and she kind of coughs.
Who's her?
I'm speaking of Josephine, the person that your friend over there, by this time Lucia's still walking away, spoke of. Her tactics are very different than the brood, but they think in similar patterns. Pain for the sake of pain.
Oh, I don't care about that bitch. Where's the brood? How can we find them?
She goes and she just laughs. She laughs a bit to herself. How can you not find them? They're everywhere. They're bloody cockroaches. You squash one group, there's 5 more waiting to spring up and take their place.
Well, I'm gonna be the exterminator.
Yeah.
She goes and she just smiles, looking over at you. You've got gall, kid. Got real gall.
So you're saying that you're trying to help us against this group?
I never said I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help the Uratha. After what you and your kind have done to them.
Well, the Aratha means nothing to me. I don't even know who they are.
Don't worry, you will soon enough. And with them rides a great, furious vengeance. And you will know them when the storm comes. And you will fear them. And they will reshape the city.
I kind of take a step forward, actually, while they're talking. Not interrupting, just getting ready to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I'll wait for Maddox to be done.
What? Oh, he's just gonna say one last thing. What kind of reshaping?
Let's just say, not all of those Uratha that currently live here have found their happiness in slavery. And as a result of that, many benefactors inside the city have helped us to come here, like a beacon calling out to us. You see, it's a storm. Usually when the storm comes, you close the shutters, close the shutter blinds. That way, everybody's nice and cozy inside. But what's gonna happen is somebody's gonna let the storm in, leave the door wide open, let it wreck up the place.
And do the brood have anything to do with that storm?
The brood, no. The brood fear the storm more than anything else. Although they might try to profit, in a sense, off the chaos and anarchy that ensues.
Well, if what you say is true about what happened to that night at the farmhouse, then I might owe you some thanks.
All I speak is the truth. That's why she fears me. She goes and gestures over towards Jillian with the just using her head alone. No sheriff can run me out of the city, especially when the city is the one that begged for us.
Well, considering what you did in Elysium the other night, I don't think there's anything I can do to get you out of here.
Oh, did you think I wanted you to get me out of here? They're already coming for me now. And when they set me bullet free, this place is gonna burn. And your little monarch. She laughs to herself. Oh, we're gonna have some fun with that bitch.
Trent starts backing away towards the door.
And is Charles going to say anything?
Actually, now that I think about it a little further, I just kind of smile at the encaptured nomad and head out the door as well.
Alright. You hear her go and she calls out, "Don't stay away too long, Jillian. I get lonely."
All right. Now head upstairs.
Alright. Jillian goes and she locks up the door and she closes it. Well, I trust that satisfied your curiosity. She's a raving lunatic.
Most definitely, Miss Graves. No weight at all to her plans, schemes, and particularly clever ideas.
I suppose. She starts up the stairs, reaching over, grabbing the torch again.
Of course.
Coming, or you're gonna stay in the dark?
Catch up to her actually, and of course, just theoretically, Miss Graves. Actually, no, never mind. Sorry, I wouldn't know that. Never mind. Scratch it. Follow up.
Trent, oh, sorry, go ahead, Charles.
I'm just following up. Nothing to say.
Okay.
As she follows behind everyone, Lucia just asks as innocently as she can, "What does she mean by the truth, Sheriff Graves?"
She goes and she gives a shrug. Who knows with these nomads? Sometimes they're crazier than the Malkovians that frequent the Ventru bloodline. They make no sense to me either. I believe Trent was going to say something.
Yeah, Trent was gonna speak out to the whole group. Who the hell are the brood?
Would
Oh,
Lucia know?
Yeah, would we all know, or?
Well, yeah. Oh, well, go ahead and make your rolls. Intelligence plus occult.
Or politics?
No, I really don't think politics would be appropriate here, just because they're not very political.
2 successes.
Basically, everything that's listed within the core rulebook of the Brood, you would know.
All right. If you consider our unique condition, Trent, the Brood are the true monsters. the Satanists among the devil worshippers, the demons among the dark, the hedonists of the most perverse. They destroy, they kill, they maim, they rape. They do it all just 'cause they can.
And this is like a clan.
They would refer to themselves as a clan, but they are no such. They are a meager gathering of insanities broiled up with nothing more than to cause chaos and seed destruction wherever they may be. They are the beast within the beast.
Do you think this has anything to do with the smell that people keep talking about on me?
I wouldn't be certain unless you allowed me to run some test.
Oh, God. I'm not going to let you poke me with any scalpels.
Then I am afraid that the answers may elude you until a time in which it becomes too late.
All right. We'll talk about something.
By the time you reach the end of the staircase, Jillian goes and she waits for you to exit before closing it back up. Should I go, by the way? Let's keep this secret, this whole passageway.
Lucia turns to Graves. You have no worries from me. I shall be seeking haven elsewhere soon enough. Consider this area forgotten.
Oh, that's good. She turns to walk off. Well, unless Charles was going to say something to her as she's walking away.
No, now I'm consulting to myself. I'm actually just gonna mutter loud enough for Cole to hear something like, "Yes, of course, I'm the best at keeping secrets."
Hi-yo!
If Cole heard that, she did not design enough to indicate she did.
It's entirely up to her. Whether she heard it or not.
Well, comrades, I have a couple of avenues I would like to indulge in, but I think for the best of various continued interest within the city, we should at least somewhat look into this mistress endeavor. I suggest, well, at least for you fellows, I seem to remember Miss Pandora mentioning something of working for the mistress, Mr. Maddox, when you spoke with her.
Oh, did she? I can hardly remember. All I remember is that woman being crazier than anything I'd seen around here.
She was speaking rather loudly. She was distracting me.
If I
Yeah.
may interject for a time, Mr. Tybalt.
Miss Cole.
Judging by our nomad's reaction to namings of mistresses and valentines, pursuing that avenue may be deemed a little more excessively dangerous than seem fit, as it would call attention to us. Rather, we should wait for the opportune time to investigate, rather than unwantingly burying our noses into something.
Cole, if you think that when you investigate you present your nose into things, then you're not a very good investigator.
There's a difference between investigating clues, hints, information, and bringing about unwanted attention.
Mm-hmm.
Especially what I fear may be connected to this storm, as it were.
Yes.
I think we should try to get a hold of this mistress as well. Any way we can.
And perhaps not attracting attention to ourselves would be best, Miss Cole, but I have faith in at least myself that I'd be able to do so without committing any grave sins.
Grave sins, as though you may find yourself exempt from, you do find a lack of tact when it comes to avoiding danger, as it were, say, among beast of power.
That was a mere coincidence, an unfortunate slip that we escaped from a little easily.
No
Little.
doubt, no doubt, without help from your allies, as it were.
Oh, of course, Miss Cole, I am forever appreciative of your gallant running out of windows.
Who else could have provided you a haven for the night?
Yes, and a nod of head towards Miss Cole. Well, regardless, I still have business this evening. If you wish not to investigate, then do as you please.
I did not say I did not wish to investigate. I merely indicated that jumping forward with such little basis into matters unknown can prove a reckless feat, and instead we should wait until we have a more solid grasp of the situation.
And with that, we will take a short break. And we are back from our little break. And I believe we only have maybe about 30 minutes to go before I have to retire for the evening, sadly. But regardless, carry on.
If I so much as may, I can offer an alternative solution to a background route, which may find us a more secure route to securing information about said mistress.
Please, Miss Cole, enlighten us, I say, pointedly gesturing to Maddox.
Following the information gathered from all angles so far, it can be presumed that this former Lancia Sanctum member, Josephine Valentine, is the possible mistress or the possible lady in red. I also have it on good knowledge that the Lancia Sanctum has broken a treaty recently with, I feign interest in saying, my covenant of the Order Dracul. So it may provide us even more knowledge to dig around for this infringement on the Order Dracul while questioning the Lancia Sanctum on another front about former Lancia member. Well, you see, an idea I have is following my student here, because I do recall him saying, and correct me if I am wrong on this, Trent, that upon his securing here in Eden, he was brought among the flock of the Lancia Sanctum himself, and may provide us with even more hidden discretion when questioning members of the Covenant about Josephine and possibly their shattering with the truce of the Order Dracul.
Yeah, I got a couple friends in the Lance.
This way we are all covered from fire and sunlight, as it were.
But I gotta add, all this magic about this storm, I don't really care. I want to find the brood.
Sadly,
I quote an eyebrow at that.
finding the brood is more than likely to have the brood find you. And to become a target of the brood is to invite death at your doorstep. It's much more efficient to exterminate them as you find them than actively seeking them out, lest you become a target.
Well, let me just put it this way, Lucia. You let me go after the brood, and hopefully with your guys' help, I'll let you do a test on my blood, or my body, or whatever is required.
Mind you, you asked me if I could help you discover your origins. Whether or not you go after the brood is of no indiscretion to me rather than your final death.
Fine, then no tests.
I'm fine with that. I cannot ascertain your safety, however, should you go choosing such violent and reckless means of half-hearted information.
All right, all right. I mean, I'm with you guys.
Okay, now.
So what's next?
But actually, I had a minor altercation to your plan, Miss Cole. If you would
Please.
so allow it.
Please speak.
Well, I had just forgotten, I say, kind of tapping a pocket. The vehicle that we have been so liberally using is actually in possession of one of my clan members, and I have to return it presently this night. I was hoping I could borrow your student here, who can drive it much more aptly than I, to help me return it. It may take a bit of time, but that will give you the opportunity to check on those files that you recently started to decrypt, and then we can all meet back up at the sanctum once I've returned the vehicle with your help with your student, and you have ascertained what you can from that.
That sounds fair with me.
Oh, we have to return the ride?
Unfortunately, yes.
All right.
Well then, I suppose we'll meet. Where does the Lancia Sanctum abide themselves, Mr. Maddox?
I'm going to defer to the storyteller.
You do know that there is a cathedral in Eden where they frequent. They do have a ownership over the. Let me think of how to say this. The mortal populace.
The flock.
Yeah. Well, not more specifically, the staff members there.
The deacons, the bishops,
Yeah.
the janitors.
They are all under the direct control, if not downright blood bonding, of the Lancia Sanctum.
All right. Well,
Do we know the name of the cathedral?
Yes, it's the St. Judas Cathedral.
Oh, St. Judas.
Well, that's some distance from Miss Red's establishment. It may take us a little longer than I expected. I lie.
As it were.
As it were. So it may take a little longer, but we'll be sure to see you there, Miss Cole.
By all means.
Well then, Mr. Maddox, let's get going.
Let's.
Alright, you guys go and you get in the car and you start heading out. You start it up as per the usual.
I'm giving him directions in a moment, but first I have to make a phone call before we head out.
Alright then, and what is Miss Lucia doing while this is going on?
Lucia heads back into her makeshift haven for the time being, and sees if she can't drag up a contact in the Order Dracul.
Okay. And with that, I'm afraid I'm going to have to call it for the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
No.
believe me, it is against my quote-unquote better judgment to do so. But, you know, I do.
But it's for your other better judgment.
Yes. So, just given this in and of itself, let's do a positive and negative real quick. Starting with Henry.
Positives. More story was revealed. I'm curious to see how this plays out.
All right. Anything else?
Nah,
okay.
That's good.
Russell?
We finally got to talk to the nomad, which was interesting. That's better to have for strong, actual, named positives.
All right. Anything else, or that's it?
That's it.
Okay. Dominic?
Yeah, I'm interested in the nomad's position now, because I guess it's a lot different than I thought it was initially. Yeah, I like the good interrogation scenes.
All right.
That was fun.
Negatives? Going backwards, Dominic?
Well, it's just short. So damn you.
All right. Russell?
Well, it's something about it. We're resetting back down to 1 on the pace scale. Yeah, it has to happen, but it's
It's still present.
yeah.
All right. And Henry?
It was kind of short and disjointed, but kind of parroting what Russell was saying. It's trying to get back to used to the pacing.
Yeah. Because remember, one story arc just ended, another one began, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't stay at 11
Yeah.
ever.
Essentially, it's the first game jitters all over again. We're starting on the second date.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, then. Thanks for listening, and even though it was short, I hope it was enjoyable.